Hey, yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs. As always, I am joined by Absolute Intense Wrestling owner, John Thorne. What is up, Thorne?
What's up? We're back. We ruined the streak last week, though.
Yeah. I thought about that earlier today.
You didn't think about it last week.
I mean, I had a lot of stuff going on, so I can't make too many excuses, but a kid graduate from high school, I had a birthday, a kid have a birthday, I had all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah. Well, here we are. We're back. Let's bring the energy.
I'm bringing it. I tried to get some stuff, get a little hype going. I made a post and I tagged Absolute Intense Wrestling earlier today on Facebook, asking people, throw some requests down. You know, we're having our annual rap show this Saturday at the Tadmore Shrine. Kash rules everything around me. We'll be featuring Kid Kash, Priscilla Kelly, and Elena Black, amongst many other Absolute Intense Wrestling roster members. But yeah, it's our annual rap show, and so I threw it out to everyone. Give me some all-time rap bangers that people wanted to hear before the show, and we got quite a few decent submissions. I thought maybe you were going to throw a couple in there. I was surprised I didn't see you. You commented, but no song requests.
Well, because when we get there, I'll just start telling you what songs to get.
Yeah, that's usually what happens, right?
Depends on how I'm feeling.
You're always somewhere in the front, and I'll hear it through the. Yeah, Two Legs, hit me with it. And you always have a song ready. It's always funny. You always come from somewhere in the front, like you get this idea, and then you're like, all right, play it.
Yeah, well, it's the benefit of employing a DJ. All my requests.
Somebody asked me one time, they're like, how do you decide, what to play and this and that? And I'm like, most of the job is just trying to make sure that Thorne is happy. That's pretty much all. I can't really play. And there's been one or two times, one time I listened to Dr. Dan and put a Britney Spears song on, and he about fired me on the spot.
I thought that was Pedro's. Dr. Dan?
Well, I was trying to not throw Pedro under the bus there. That's one of Dr. Dan and Pedro's favorites, so I was throwing Dr. Dan under the bus. It's all right. He can handle it.
All right. Yeah, I stormed back there. I said, what in the fuck?
Yeah.
Just open doors. This is not setting a good tone.
You were not pleased at all. That was funny. Before we get into too much about this Saturday's show in Akron, I did want to talk about, we had a show back at Penguin City Brewery in Youngstown, Ohio. That was a great time. What did you think of the Youngstown show?
Well, if we're being honest, I was a little disappointed with the turnout. It was less than when we went in February in the middle of a life-threatening ice storm. So yeah. I thought that we would do better than we did in the ice storm, and we did not. It was a nice sunny day. Maybe that worked to our detriment. So I was a little disappointed with the turnout, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I definitely feel like I think classes were out, right? I mean, I don't think school was in session anymore. I think that definitely has something to do with it. The great weather had something to do with it for sure. I mean,
yeah,
a couple factors.
I think, we're going to see how October does there, obviously, and then kind of reassess the Youngstown expansion after October. But yeah, it was, for what we did to bring in the various outside attraction names, I expected a little bit of a stronger turnout in Youngstown. But hey, you live and you learn. With Guido, Evil Uno, and the Headbangers, I thought that we were going to be able to at least match what we did in February, which was, a lot of people. Like I said, in the middle of a friggin' ice storm too. Mm-hmm. And we did not come close to it. So a little bit of a disappointing, especially, riding that big wave coming off the 20th anniversary show, selling out the Globe Iron. It's like you have those moments where you get smacked back right down into reality, and this was certainly one of them on June 7th, 2025.
Yeah, it was a head scratcher for sure. Speaking of all our guests, though, I did think they were all pretty great. Headbangers, especially, man, those guys were awesome. I took a picture with them. They brought the belts out, the real belts, too. I know everyone was talking about, those were the real WWF belts they had with them. That was really rad.
Yeah, they they put it put it over my shoulder or whatever, and I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, whoa, oh my, I said something weird like that. I was like, oh my, or something like that, because those fuckers were heavy.
Yeah,
those were the real deal WWF tag titles. So I don't know if I don't know how they got them. I don't know if you won them, you just got to keep a set, for I don't know what the story is, but they were the real deal. So I was I was pretty shocked by that. Ricky Steamboat also, though, when we booked him, he had the real Intercontinental title. So I don't know what the protocol is, if these guys just sneaking them in their bags and not returning them or something, or if you win them, you get to keep the belt for real. So, but nonetheless, it was pretty cool to hold those official WWF tag team titles from the Attitude Era.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a thing where, because the belt changes over time here and there. I wonder if it was a thing where, they had them and then maybe lost to somebody, and when the new belt got put on whoever, that next time they appeared on TV, they had a new belt. You know what I mean? They changed the design or something, so then Headbangers got to keep the old ones or something like that. It could be. Yeah,
I probably should have asked them, but there was just so much going on. I didn't get a lot of time in with the Headbangers, enough, but it was, certainly not sit down and let me ask you where you guys got these tag team titles from. Maybe Pedro did. Pedro fucking loves the Headbangers. He was in heaven.
Yeah, him and I discussed that. He dressed like a headbanger. I think it was Thrasher the one year for Halloween. He sent me a picture. It was great. Yeah, he was real enthusiastic.
He loved the Headbangers, but I thought the content of the show was very good. Just wish that crowd was a little fuller, I'll say. The good thing is the Penguin City was still very happy with everything. The people that were there did come out and did drink. Jayhawk was fucking hammered. Did you see that guy?
What's that?
Jayhawk, you see that guy? He was hammered.
I saw him before the show started, and he said, "Hey, two legs, man." I thought to myself, "All right, brother, the show hasn't started yet." He got there a little early.
He flagged me down. He flagged me down to the end. He's like, "Hey, I was doing my part, man." And I was like, "What?" He's like, I was drinking." And I was like, "Oh, okay." That may be the first words Jayhawk ever uttered to me. So I was just was a little taken back by that, but he was partying. So
hell yeah, that's what we're asking. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time. You just always want that. You want that full, feeling of a show. You know what I mean? It's always, you always want to do equal or better than the last time you were in a building, and that's the thing is sometimes, Pedro or other people will be like, well, this and this was good. And I just be like, yeah, but I don't see that as a success in my, you know what I mean? The numbers are the numbers, and this is a bad metric, so that's, no matter how complimentary or, cool of things happen at a show, I'm always going to get stuck on that metric of, it did worse than the last time. So in my eyes, it is not a good, it's not a good outing. That's just how I can't get over stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't see past that number, or just, I guess, even just the visual too. The idea of, it looking less fuller in there, that's something you're never going to be able to see past, no matter what happened on the show.
Right. So, I thought the content though was good. For 9 matches plus a free view, we fucking had the timing. Everything was down.
Yeah.
The show ran smooth. I recently invested in wireless setups for all the cameras now. So that was kind of the investment coming off of the Globe Iron was, investing in that stuff, which is, that is very expensive for anybody that is in the production tech world to look into that stuff. It's not cheap. So I got that stuff. Plus we had to get these batteries and all this other stuff that goes with it. And we were able to test that stuff out for the first time. So we ran, not only did we run with no camera cables, 100% wireless, we also were able to stream the show off of their Wi-Fi connection. So we were like totally wireless.
Yeah.
Which was scary and interesting and a good kind of test. I'll say that. So, a good test run for all that stuff. So, there's a lot of positives that did come out of the show. I just always want to keep the crowd growth. That's because at the end of the day, as successful as, we're slowly growing the Patreon and the YouTube premium subscription model, still that money that comes in comes nowhere near what ticket sales are. It is a live event ticket sale business, when you boil it all down. So I'm always looking at that stuff. So hopefully in October we're able to, with the college being back in and all that stuff, hopefully we're able to really put a big number back in Penguin City. And same goes for Globe Iron. We're back there in mid-July for Absolution. You want to get that number, you know what I mean? Like you want to compete with that 20th anniversary number. So that's 100%, calling all cars. We need everybody at Absolution on July 18th for sure.
Yeah, huge show. If you haven't seen, too, we have a special guest coming in. We got Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, for Absolution, for a special meet and greet. I can't remember the last time he's came to the Cleveland area. I know we did have him in the last handful of years, but that was down in the Akron area, too. So, I mean that was
pre-COVID, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's been several years. We never had him in the Cleveland market, so I'm hopeful. There's not a lot of guys left, from that era of, and that level of just fame. So, I'm hopeful that people want to come out and, get that photo up with the $1 Million belt, because I think he also brings the $1 Million belt with him. So, yeah, I mean, we're doing a little bit of a smaller kind of summer schedule right now, really trying to kind of zero in on things. But so June 7th in Youngstown was a little bit of a disappointment, but I'm hopeful that we can keep that, get that everything back on track for, this weekend in Akron, and then, obviously Absolution in Cleveland, and then you close the summer out with Wrestle Rager, which is, probably going to sell out well in advance by the way it's going right now. A third of the tickets are already gone. And so, I'm not so worried about Wrestle Rager as much as I am about this Saturday in Akron, and then obviously July at the Globe Iron.
Yeah, a couple more things too. Funny I was going to tell you about with the Penguin City show, and we discussed the wireless stuff. We've talked about it on here. How many times, it's with the live event business, and just there will always be something that goes wrong. John Thorne invested a bunch of money into these wireless transmitters for the cameras. So like he said, we can go wireless. He buys these things. We get it here. We get to the venue. We plug it in. We got 6 batteries charging. We're good to go. We got all these batteries for these wireless transmitters. Plug them in. Good to go. It's charging. We look at, yep, all charging. We come back about an hour later. It's just off. We're like, oh, maybe it's done charging. Nope. Did you send that back? Or it just fried out, just completely did not work, just stopped working, all 6 batteries uncharged. So we're like, what the hell? Like, just out of nowhere, just things just happen. It's this crazy how no matter what, something will go wrong somehow, and you gotta persevere. You gotta figure it out, and it was just so crazy how there's always at least one thing that will happen that just has no explanation, no rhyme or reason. It's just there.
I'm glad you said that because no, I haven't sent it back. It's still in the back of my car where I left it on June 7th. But after we're done podcasting, I'm gonna go get it and I'm gonna mess with it and see if if there's a way I can fix it here, and then if not, I'm gonna send it back because I forgot.
It was just so crazy, though. We're like, okay, it's working, and then all of a sudden it's just nothing. And a few different people messed with it. We plugged in other places. We tried doing this. We tried doing that. And we're like, it's just doing nothing. We're like, this is crazy. And then also another thing, did you happen to see, I know I showed you those chili dogs. You see, I got Kaplan a couple chili dogs. There's a place I talked about going.
Oh, yeah, he was very excited.
Oh, man. I felt good about this, too, because I've been hyping these chili dogs, and I'm like, I want to get somebody else's opinion, I like somebody I really, a respected chili dog opinion. And Kaplan, he said he said they were as good as I said they were, so that made I felt vindicated for that, because I'm like, people kept asking me, how good could these damn chili dogs be? And I'm like, brother, they are good.
I've never been more disgusted by something in my life. Kaplan is just eating these room temperature.
Oh no, they weren't room temperature. They were in the cooler all day, brother. I had them on ice.
Even worse, they were cold.
Yes, yeah, they were cold for sure. He had no qualms with that whatsoever. I go, they gotta be some sort of microwave. I go, there's gotta be a way we can heat these. He goes, oh no, I'll eat them just like this. And just proceeded to just hammer them down.
Oh, it disgusted me. I've never been more disgusted by it in my life. Just all those condiments and gross things. Ugh.
It was terrible. Chili and macaroni and cheese only. That's it. 2 ingredients: chili, mac and cheese, and hot dog, dude. It was great.
Chili disgusts me. I don't know what you would. I don't know what group of food that you would put that in, but whatever it is, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's solid and a liquid kind of chili.
I don't know if it's a condiment or slop.
A sauce, I think. A meat sauce is what Kaplan would call that.
I don't want anything to do with it. But we did have fun. You know what I mean? We made the best of it. We ended up going out to Joey Vincent Martini's bar, the Federal, after the show, which was a good time.
How about that? That was a fun experience.
That was fun.
Do you remember going into the wrong place? We all show up.
We accidentally went into a club for a little bit.
We're like looking around, and it was. We're talking like this is like dance club. Like it was a bar, but it's one of those places. Like at night, it just must turn into like more of like a dance club kind of vibe, whatever. And we walk in, and it was really confusing because there was a construction on the sidewalk, so we didn't really see that the Federal was past where we went into. And we walk in, and we're just like looking around, like what the hell is happening right now? Who even realized?
So this girl that was at the show followed us over there, and then she's like from the area, and when she was just like walked in with all of us, and then was like, "Oh, this isn't the Federal. This is whatever it was called." And then right on the wall, pointed out there was whatever the name of the bar was was on the wall, and I was just like, oh. And then we walked outside and we actually talked to the bouncer. We're like, where's the Federal? And they pointed us in the right direction.
Yeah, that place was cool though. The Federal, Joey Vincent Martini's bar, really great place. I had a lot of fun in there.
Yeah, it was a good time. And then we went back to the hotel, drank some more beers. Got $97 worth of chicken sandwiches from Burger King on DoorDash.
Yeah, my wife, we have the accounts on both of our, so if she wants to order something, and it notifies your phone. So she looked at the next day, she goes, what the hell, $97 from Burger King? I go, the boys wanted chicken, long boy chicken sandwiches.
Yeah, that was, but yeah, so it was a good time. highly recommend, it's a little pricey, but get that room at the DoubleTree next time we go out to the Penguin City in October. It just is like the perfect location. It's like venue, beer store, DoubleTree, Joey Vincent Martini's bar, like all like right in a row in that order.
Yeah.
So it's certainly it's like a 1-minute drive from Penguin City or something like that. So definitely a perfect location for a hotel show combo for everybody listening that needs to make the trip in October. But there was a lot of there's a lot of regulars that weren't there. I think Jersey Mike was like, I got a wedding. A lot of people had all kinds of different stuff going on. Mm-hmm. Couldn't even get Razor Sharp out there.
Yeah, Jeff from corporate missing in action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about the hotel, though, too, and just like what you were saying with the proximity of it is like the perfect, like you're saying, take a little out-of-town trip, but you're not too far. But the hotel was right there. Penguin City's right there. There was that beer store, and then the Federal for the after party. Like, yeah, it was just all right there. Made a really great evening. So if anybody didn't come out, plan for it next October. You got plenty of time to plan it out. So
yeah, I bet you get that room real cheap if you book it right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, going forward, you want to talk about this card this Saturday. We do have a show in Akron, Ohio at the Tadmor Shrine. I think it's a real strong card. We don't have any free view announced yet. I know you're talking about putting one on. What are you leaning? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of deferring to letting some other people put some ideas out there, for the free view. So I'm just kind of waiting to see, what's pitched to me. There will be a free view. We're just kind of waiting to see how it's going to shake out. But yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that we can. We've seen some positive momentum back in the Akron area. Mm-hmm. Since we've made some price adjustments and different things as far as the ticketing goes. So I'm really hopeful that we can keep that positive momentum going in the Tadmor Shrine. So right now it is still selling a little slower than I would feel that make me feel comfortable. So, I'm going to beg you all to come to Akron this Saturday on this podcast throughout the remainder of it. So,
the hard sell, as they say.
Yeah, no, it's just going to be begging today. It's a very, very expensive show on Saturday, as, one could probably imagine. So, we're going to need those ticket sales to pick up ASAP.
A couple second and third row seating available, I believe you said, right, as of before this recording. I thought I saw you say.
Yeah, I think there's 10 second rows and 10 third rows left.
So let's sell out those remaining seats. And then Tadmor Shrine, too, a great venue for, general admission seating with those bleachers and stuff in the back. So a lot of great seats still available. So go ahead and get those tickets from our Eventbrite, Absolute Intense Wrestling, Eventbrite.com. Where you'll find those tickets. Great card, though, as I said. We got a bunch of fly-ins.
Before you get to it, though,
sure.
Just so people are aware, if you buy, so all the ticket prices are going up day of. Yes. So everything's going to increase. If there's second and third row still left, that's going to become more expensive, and then the general admission tickets are going to become more expensive as well. We started doing that in Akron to kind of, get an idea of a better pre-sale because people were just waiting to come. So now you are incentivized to purchase your tickets in advance. Front row sold out, but, for example, that's knocked down. Second row's knocked down, third row's knocked down, and general admission's knocked down. But day of the show, all those prices are getting knocked back up to, the normal, what we'd call you figure the normal pricing, right? So right now you can get a general admission ticket for $15. You can get a third row for $25. You can get a second row for, I believe, $30. But all that stuff is going up on Saturday. So, take advantage of $15 to get in the door, is pretty good for the caliber of talent that we are bringing in this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, second and third row tickets still available. That second row, for $30, that's a deal right now. You want to grab that up. I mean, that's a deal. That's for sure. I mean, we've talked about, the Tadmor Shrine, and, you figure those deals on the ticket price. You got to figure free parking. You got a full bar, all that kind of stuff. The concession stand, I posted on Facebook, Brownie Sundays. Dude, I'm doing a Brownie Sunday this Saturday. The Tadmor has its perks, that's for sure. So you definitely want to get those tickets and come on out to Saturday. I'm thinking it's supposed to be nice weather, too. People probably be out in the parking lot tailgating, doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you would think.
We got to get you out to the parking lot to tailgate one of these times. What would it take to get John Thorne out to the parking lot?
A sellout of all these tickets, tickets that are available.
You hear that? We sell out second and third row, and then we'll start talking. There you go.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at it right now to confirm what I said. So second rows are available for $35, but on Saturday they're going to go up to $40. Third rows are available for $25. On Saturday they're going to go up to $30. And then of course the GAs are available for $15. They're going to go up to $20. If you look at Eventbrite, it's gonna it's gonna be some wonky numbers because of the new law where it's all in pricing. So like a GA's after their Eventbrite fees is like $17.85. Second row is $28.52, and a third row is $39.19. Based on the all-in fees that all the ticket brokers must post now. So now you know what the Eventbrite is charging you fee-wise.
Yeah. Speaking of, scalpers, scammers, and all that stuff that you said, man, I swear, anytime anything is posted on Facebook these days about tickets, you will get so many just fakes, spam. So, yeah, if anyone's looking for tickets for any of our shows, be very wary if you're buying secondhand off someone online, because they're just all fake scammers. It's crazy how that
they're
works.
All fake. They're all fake. All fake.
It's like all worded the same way. Oh, I had a family member or something. I can't make the show. It's like all worded the same way. It's funny.
Yeah, that is like a crazy thing that Facebook has to figure out, because I'm sure it happens for every event posted on that platform. But it's brutal. That I like the amount of comments that I have to go in and delete and report and flag.
Yeah,
it's very tedious. And then sometimes there's people that are like, you don't notice it in time, and there's people that are like, oh, well, how do I buy them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, don't. Come on, stop.
How do I buy them? Yeah, that's something. Because they don't, if you don't realize, you're like, oh, shit, here we go. Yeah, sweet, some tickets. All right.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, yeah, so hopefully we can get a very strong showing this Saturday. That's, that's the hope. Just continuing to kind of build up this territorial type of scenario to where we have multiple areas to go to, and it keeps everything fresh everywhere we go. And if we're able to maintain these crowds in these different areas, I think it's just gonna make things a lot more manageable, honestly. It's the business is always changing, and we're trying to always kind of change with it and evolve with it. And right now the plan is to hopefully do a couple in Youngstown, a couple in Akron, a couple in Cleveland every year, and kind of space them out to where we're not in one place too much or too little. Trying to find that kind of sweet spot right now. And then we are talking with venues for a new concept that would have more shows, AIW shows added, and much smaller capacity, availability, things like that. I'm sure some people have seen Dom and other people posting, looking for leads, but we are looking to add more shows at a much limited capacity, and to where we're not relying on these bigger venues to sell out. So we want to maintain our visibility, and specifically, the Cleveland, area for sure. But we're trying to, we're trying to find that middle ground. We don't want to extend the fan base financially, things like that. So we're trying to find ways to add shows in smaller places at lower ticket prices to make everything work to where the bigger shows are the big shows, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just we're always, I know we just celebrated the 20-year anniversary of IW, but we're always trying to find a way to remain relevant and kind of reinvent and stay ahead of the curve on stuff. So we're working on more concepts and different things always, and so that's kind of what the plan is right now. Is we're trying to establish Akron, Youngstown, Cleveland, in kind of stick and move in those places, and not do too much, not do too little, and then add some way more intimate type shows and much smaller capacity shows in the Cleveland area as well.
Hell yeah. So you heard them. Get those tickets. Like we said, the only way that we can do this is with you guys. So if you want to see more AIW, you got to support. Getting into the card here, like I said, a very strong card, an expensive card, as you said. There are several bigger names on this card. Speaking of a few, we do have a couple women's matches. We have Priscilla Kelly debuting in Absolute Intense Wrestling versus K.R.E.A.M.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is a big card. Obviously, this is in the first. This will be her second match since being released from WWE. Last week did not, even complete due to a freak accident, but I've been assured she's good to go for this Saturday. So this could be technically her first complete match outside of WWE, which is pretty exciting. Against K.R.E.A.M. This is the Trombetta Dream match. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to, it's a big test for Katie. It's equally a big test for Priscilla Kelly. Trying to reestablish herself on the independent scene. Obviously, when people leave WWE, their hope is to continue on and either get back there or get to, TNA or AEW. So I think she has a ton to prove. She's still extremely young. So I'm very much excited to what she brings to the table on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Trombetta actually texted me as we were recording a little bit ago, right when we started, and he said, "Hey, you guys doing the pod this week?" And I said, "We're actually recording it right now, like currently. We're currently doing it." He goes, "Oh, great, I have a question." And I'm thinking maybe he's gonna I don't know. I was just I'm not trying to pay too much attention. We're trying to record. I don't want to, completely zone out. But he goes, "Oh, does she have a ride from the airport?" I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me." I'm like, "I thought you were gonna have some actual profound question."
That's fun.
I think she probably got one, I'm guessing, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you never know with these students we have, but.
Good call. Looking forward.
She will be doing her meet and greet from 6:30 to 7:30 on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that was going to be a question a couple people had asked on Facebook.
We have no idea how her or Cora Jade or Elena Black are pricing themselves. This is all set up. You know what I mean? This is all them with their agents and all this stuff. We have no involvement at all in what they do for the meet and greet. So I have no idea. I've not been told. So I can't imagine it's going to be cheap though. So I would bring some cash on Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say bring Kash, but I do know another point for the Tadmor Shrine right there in that lobby. There is an ATM in the building, so I would bring Kash just so you don't you can avoid any complications. But worst case Ontario, they do have an ATM at the Tadmor Shrine. But speaking of Elena Black, she will be in action versus AIW's own Jocelyn Navarro. This is going to be a great match.
Yeah, I mean, again, Elena Black she's coming out with a crazy full schedule. She is like full go, and that, again, just like Priscilla Kelly, she has aspirations of, making it back to a television wrestling product at some point. So I think that she's coming to the indies with just like Priscilla Kelly, a ton to prove. Wants to show that value, wants to show that improvement since she was last on the independents. And Jocelyn Navarro obviously is a big test for her, but equally speaking, this is a big test for Jocelyn because this is a talent that has been in the WWE system for several years, training with the best wrestlers in the world on a daily basis and the best coaches in the world on a daily basis. So I would not take Elena Black lightly here, for sure, on top of the fact that she is got a crazy packed independent schedule right now.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think either of them are coming out, just to show face and come out. They want to come out and show the WWE, show these other companies, that could be potential employers, what a reason why you should be booking them. So absolutely. Going forward in the card, we do have a three-way. I'm very excited for this one. Dex Royal versus Alec Price versus Mikey Montgomery. There should definitely be some fireworks in this one. We've seen some iterations of this match before, but boy, this one will be good.
They've kind of crossed paths with each other in different sort of, they've had some singles together. They've had multi-person matches together. They keep kind of, always somehow landing, in the same kind of stratosphere together. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what better than to, just throw these three out there and just let them go nuts. Let's not, even involve a fourth talent or, a fourth, fifth, and sixth talent, and make it a scramble. I'm not a crazy fan of three-ways.
Yeah. You hate the odd number.
Yeah, I love even numbers. I hate odd numbers, but I thought that this was, it just was never kind of in the plans. It just kind of subconsciously has been heading in this direction, based on, how they've all been booked in different kind of combinations. So I thought, hell with it. Let's just throw them out there in a three-way and, let them go nuts.
Yeah, it's got to be something good if Thorne's going with an odd number, because normally you just always throw somebody in that fourth position, but it's too good to add a four, so that's how you know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that all three have tremendous upside right now. You know what I mean? Alec Price is super talented. Mikey's super talented. Dex Royal's super talented. I think they all have different kind of things to prove for different reasons. And I think, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, what they can do. I think they're all super athletic, super innovative talents. So I think that I think the whole card is actually very strong. It's only 7 matches, which is low for us in a sense, but I do anticipate, everything getting a substantial amount of time allotted to it, as opposed to, when you're running that, 8, 9, 10 match card, things are moving at a rapid pace. I think you're going to be able to sit back and watch some things, as the kids say, cook on Saturday, because everybody's gonna have enough time to let things simmer, and then throw in some extra ingredients.
Hell yeah. Speaking of four-ways, we do have four-way on the card. This one's going to be pretty good as well. I'm excited for this one. We got the Slugger, Austin James, taking on the returning Slim J, taking on Big Sam Holloway, taking on Kid Kash.
Yeah. Again, fuck. There's so many flights on this show. Jesus.
Yeah.
Kid Kash. He will be doing a meet and greet as well from 6:30 to 7:30. He will be 20/20/30. So, it's going to be affordable in combination, you know what I mean, with the ladies who could be a little bit on the higher end as far as a meet and greet is concerned.
Yeah.
So Kid Kash is definitely pricing himself, so everybody could also meet him this Saturday. So 20/20/30 to meet Kid Kash on Saturday. But I'm very excited about this one. It is an interesting combination of talents, much like the last one we were just talking about. Kid Kash has always worked at a high level. ECW, TNA, WWE, independence. This guy's done it all, been everywhere, and is, by all accounts, in extremely great shape. So, I'm excited about that. Slugger's been, on a little bit of a roll. He's kind of like a 50-50. He wins one, he loses one. He's, trying to kind of find that footing to kind of put it all together. But again, Slugger is like low-key super athletic.
Oh, yeah.
I think people really underestimate him as far as an in-ring talent. And then you have Slim J, who's, fucking wily veteran who is still working at an extremely high level, one of the most innovative wrestlers of all time. And then you have Sam Holloway, who, is, in that WWE system, trying to, continue his ascent. So there's all sorts of kind of different levels, and this is like a crazy combination of styles and age ranges and experience levels. I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, it's nobody's surprised. I'm a big Slim J guy. I love when he comes back. The guy is just crazy. Any match he's in, one-on-one, scramble, four-way, whatever, keep your eyes in the ring or on this guy, because he's going to do some crazy shit, and you'll be like, holy shit, like, where the hell did you even come up with that? Like, to think to do that, So very excited for Slim J. But everyone in this match, like you said, AJ, a sneaky competitor, man. The guys, he wins one, he loses one, but you never kind of know, where he's coming from. He's always got something up his sleeve. And then you got Big Sam Holloway and Kid Kash in there, two bigger guys that are going to mix it up. It's 4 different styles in this one, but a lot of fireworks could happen for this one. I'm real excited for this one.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just these last 2 matches we talked about alone, the 3-way and now this 4-way, the caliber of high-end skill in both of these matches, and just the level of innovation and excitement that all of the competitors work at. These are the types of things that I think just sets AIW apart in the Midwest, in Northeast Ohio, in Ohio, however you want to subcategorize, wrestling and independent wrestling. I think these are the types of matches that really set us, apart from anything else you can see, certainly in this area. You're not going to see competitors that work at this level at many other shows, in the Northeast Ohio area. I mean, that's not bragging. That's not, overselling or whatever you want to call it. That's a fact.
Yeah, right.
It's a fact. You know what I mean? You're not going to see people that work at this level at any other promotion in the state. And maybe you see one of those guys. On this show, it is full of those types of talents. And that's what I think makes this card Saturday so special. There is just, I don't know how you want to say it, trimming of the fat or whatever. This show is just like fucking bangers only for sure. And there is a ton of really, really highly skilled talents on this show. And, this four-way is a definition of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely both matches, like you said, with these seven guys, is like you could look away for 1 second and totally miss something, that's crazy as hell that go down. But this card in general, like you said, trimming of the fat or whatever, just bangers only would have been a good name for it if we didn't go with Cash rules everything around me. Because seven matches, a little one or two less than we would normally run, but yeah, all 7 matches just absolute bangers for sure.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to every match on the show. Sometimes matches are put together not for the sake of matches, but just for the sake of the show or advancing story, or there's different reasons to book different things. But this show, just like everything just kind of like fell into place, I feel, to make it such a can't miss show. That's why I'm really shocked that the second and third row tickets haven't sold out yet. Mm-hmm. The GA is lighter than it usually is at this time for an Akron show, for any AIW show really, which is concerning. You know what I mean? Especially coming off of Youngstown, that was a little light, because this show is very expensive, obviously, but it's certainly going to be paced and it is booked to be one of the best AIW shows we've ever put on. From a talent standpoint alone.
Oh, absolutely. Going forward in the card, speaking of, we have a tag match, a couple, an impromptu tag that we've seen before, and then a newer tag team that just recently formed. We have the Cosmic Cowboys in Paul London and Shelby Wilder taking on Beef Jerky Jitsu in Kaplan and Tyson Riggs. I am super jazzed for this match.
Both teams coming off losses. So, trying to establish themselves in the tag team division here, that is kind of wide open as far as contenders go. We saw, the newly named Beef Jerky Jitsu, take on Haku and Tom Lawler in one of the most fucking memorable matches I've ever seen in my life the last time we were in Akron.
Absolutely.
And the Cosmic Cowboys also debuted as well the last time we were in Akron, in Shelby Wilder and Paul London. I think that there is a lot of potential for a lot of memorable things to happen in this match. Again, we were just talking about just the pure kind of athleticism of the last couple matches. This is like a stick of dynamite, because you just don't know how it's going to shake out.
Oh yeah.
Kaplan and Paul London in a match together is
yeah.
I don't know how we have not sold out of the tickets, when people have seen that. God only knows what's going to happen there. Riggs is a bit of a wild card. Shelby Wilder's a bit of a wild card. But I mean, the fucking main attraction here is Kaplan and Paul London locking horns, I think.
Oh yeah. Did you see that? Did you see that promo that got put out? Kaplan under the bridge there. Kaplan was conceived under a bridge. Apparently,
I got so many texts about that promo. Matthew Justice texted me. Completely typed out everything that Kaplan said in that promo and sent it to me in a text. Like, I don't know how long that took, but he completely typed out every single thing that Kaplan said in that promo in a text message to me the other day. Kaplan is one of the all-time favorites of the locker room. I don't know, I don't know if the fans love him or are indifferent of him or hate him or just like eating his beef jerky. But Kaplan is certainly a fan favorite of the locker room. And, proof of that is Matthew Justice taking the time to type out word for word everything Kaplan said about being conceived underneath a bridge in Youngstown.
It was so good. Right over there by those pallets, he said. It was incredible. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, we're at the price of admission alone right there. Beef Jerky Jitsu taking on the Cosmic Cowboys, man. I'm excited for that one. We do have another impromptu kind of tag match, I guess we'll call it. We got Derek Dillinger with Katie Arquette and Vincent Nothing taking on Dominic Guarini and Matthew Justice. I mean, what could even be said about this match? 4 just absolute maniacs, powerhouses. This is going to be a wild one for sure.
Yeah, I think, there's been some incidents. Derek and Dom have had a few incidents. Matthew Justice and Vincent Nothing have had some interactions in the gauntlet and have, exchanged some words of, this is why everybody's got to watch these AIW Backstage Pass videos that we upload. Matthew Justice had some words for Vincent Nothing, Derek and Dom have, exchanged words, had a little bit of an altercation underneath the said bridge that we were just discussing.
Sex bridge.
I said said bridge, but I guess you could call it the sex bridge.
Yeah, I heard what you said, but it just made me think that it's, God only knows. This is, going to be some random-ish tag-ups here to, get to what is most likely the final destination at Absolution for these 4 talents. Very excited to see what happens here. And, again, these are, much like we talked about, a lot of these matches, these are 4, wily veterans. So they're certainly not showing up to get, shown up by some of these younger up-and-coming talents. There's a lot of heavy hitters on this show. I certainly think all 4 of these guys want to leave their mark on a show that is, quite frankly, stacked from top to bottom. Yeah, and I mean, it bears repeating that this is obviously our rap show, but no rules, anything goes all night. So, I mean, with these 4, just throwing haymakers out there, that's, most Matthew Justice matches are held under, anything goes, no rules. But the entire night, I know Jeremy had asked in our Discord, EVP of Health, Jeremy wanted to know, are all matches for the rap show no DQ or just the main event? Everything on the show is no DQ. Everything that happens all night long from the free view to the main event is all no DQ. So, I mean, anything can happen, absolutely. But speaking of our main event, too, we have a fans bring the weapons match for our main event. We have Eric Taylor with the Duke, Isaiah Broner with Josh Prohibition and the Vision versus Chuck Stone, Wes Barkley, and PME. Fans bring the weapons within reason, I know, is always the disclaimer, nobody bring any M80s. It's fireworks season.
Yeah, none of that, but bring some weapons. Let's get creative. Bring some stuff on Saturday. I know PME's not happy about it. They're complaining about it in all the group chats. Let's get some weapons going. And again, they're going to probably be spread out all night long. So we need a vast collection of weapons to be gathered at the front door this Saturday, because everybody wants to use some weapons. The whole show is anything goes, no rules. So we do need. We are once again asking for your support in the weapons category of things.
Calling all ghouls. We need some weapons. So get those brains going. I know several of them out there in our crowd.
Bring your skewers, bring your thumbtacks, bring all of it.
Absolutely. But like you said, all bangers on that seven match card. I'm very excited. We did open it up for questions in the Discord. If you're not a part of our Discord and you want to be.
I mean, you didn't even tell me who you thought was going to win the main event.
Oh, you know what I mean? It's almost impossible to say, especially with fans bring the weapons. You got a guy like Chuck who just came out of the terror cage. A guy like Wes who seems to get it done at all costs, always finds a way. And then you got PME, all on a team, guys. Those guys know how to win. How many time tag team champions? Those guys know how to win. But then you're looking across, at the Vision, who have Nipsey Nash. Trey and Tyler have Nipsey Nash in their corner, a guy who always got, something going on over there. The Duke is in their corner, another man who just absolutely cannot be trusted. God only knows what that man has planned. And then you got Josh Prohibition.
I'll tell you what he's got planned. He's got planned a very expensive flight to San Diego.
He told us all about his Comic-Con trips. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say. I would have to think, that Eric and Broner and the Vision have the edge simply just with numbers odds. Having the extra men there with Prohibition. He said he's retired. He's strictly a managing mouthpiece now. But you got Nipsey and the Duke, both guys who are not scared to get in the ring. So God only knows. What could happen. Obviously, not saying Josh is scared to get in the ring. I didn't mean it like that, but has said. Right. He's since retired from in-ring competition, but just simply on the numbers alone, I think you might have to go with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very.
What about you? Who do you got?
Well, I'm very interested to just see how it all comes together. You know what I mean? Sometimes these crazy brawls turn into masterpieces in. Sometimes they just get a little bit too violent for their own good, and things go awry very quickly. So that's kind of what I'm interested in, to see how it all kind of comes together here. There's been tons of these matches like this in AIW over the years, and I'm very interested to see that there's some new players in there, so to speak, that have never been in environments like this.
Yeah.
Specifically the Vision. It's they may, as much as it sounds like they may have a advantage, Tyler Jordan, Trey Lamar, and Nipsey Nash have never been in something like this. So you just never know how that's gonna play. You know what I mean? Sometimes the environment wins before the match even starts. It is very much a psychological scenario that, all these talents are walking into on Saturday as well. And it also depends on, what kind of shit our fans going to bring. You know what I mean? Like, that is certainly has its impacts. So, we'll see what, you got to see how it all comes together. But, and like I've been saying for months on here, there's always that X factor of fans, right? Like if we pack it, you know what I mean? And that changes the total, kind of trajectory of the whole match, right? Like Tyler Jordan and Trey Lamar are from that area. You know what I mean? Are they going to have support? Is their support going to outnumber the support for Wes Barkley, PME, Chuck Stone? There's a lot of things that go into that. Chuck Stone nearly died in that building a few months ago. Has that garnered support, of the entire AIW fan base for him? There's a lot of different ways this thing can go on Saturday. Maybe that's a little too analytical, but, that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
No, I love the insight. I'm very excited for this card. Very excited for Saturday. Hope to see everyone out there. If you haven't gotten tickets, like we said, second and third row still available. General admission is still available. Right now, you can save $5 on all those. Day of show, they will be available, but they will go back up $5 to their regular price. So you definitely want to grab those now. Save that money and ease Thorne's mind a little bit. We know, John Thorne. Loses sleep when those ticket sales are not great. So.
I would like to think some fans have some common sense. You cannot possibly look at the talent on this show and go, fuck, this is a pretty affordable lineup that AIW has put together. It is fucking one of the most expensive lineups we have ever put together. We're trying to pull out all the stops for Akron this Saturday. And I think it's proof there's a flight of, or something in almost every single one of these matches. Talent from all over the country will be at the Tadmor Shrine this Saturday night, and I think it's an extremely loaded card, one of the best we've ever put together. And again, only 7 matches on that main card, so there's going to be quite a lot of time allotted for each one of these matches to really develop, and I think we're going to see some really special performances come out of Saturday.
Can't wait. So like we said, get your tickets now. Hope to see everyone out there. Buy your ticket now. Save that $5, and you can use it for a brownie sundae on Saturday. That's for sure. I will be buying one. That's for sure. Like we said, if you would like to ask a question on the podcast, get into our Discord, join the Patreon, get into our Discord where we will answer all your questions here on the show. Our guy, Joe Herskilles, wanted to know, what was the inspiration for the original rap show? Do you recall?
We were just kind of thinking of different concepts, and we thought about, what if we just marketed a show that was no rules all night, because it did have, I believe, one of these kind of wild multi-man main events attached to it, and we just wanted to kind of, add some additional appeal to it, maybe a little bit of a marketing thing at first, and from it just kind of caught on from there. I think people really enjoyed just the night of no rules, and I know sometimes it's kind of like rough discretion stuff at AIW shows. Sometimes there's, matches that, a little bit are, some things get, they're
justice matches.
yeah. But just the idea of just dedicating one night to where you can do anything, and people seem to like it, and it kind of was just our sort of middle ground to fans pressuring us to do like a death match show, and we didn't really want to totally do something like that and make the fans too bloodthirsty, so we kind of landed on this concept.
I think it works. I enjoy it. Like you said, I was a fan before I worked for the company, and I always look forward to the rap show, just because it's one of those things. We've said before, the surprise element in wrestling is always fun. The rap show always brings out a surprise of some sort of with the whole no rules, no, you never know what you're going to see type atmosphere. So
yeah, and sometimes you just see some people that aren't normally in a situation like that, in that situation, and seeing how they adapt. Some people try not to use any of the weapons, or you know what I mean. Some people try to avoid it. But it's kind of an interesting X factor to have as a theme throughout the whole night on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about the Vision. Those guys, not really seeing too much action like this. You look at the match, Beef Jerky Jitsu versus Cosmic Cowboys. Kaplan, Paul London, probably two guys that, have seen some action like this. Tyson Riggs, Shelby Wilder, I don't think have seen too many, fans, not fans bring the weapons, excuse me, but, anything goes type stuff. There might be some weapons laying around from fans bringing the weapons that might get used in this match. And those two, haven't seen tons of that action. So yeah, anything can happen, and it's going to be interesting to see who does what and who shies away from what, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I just think it's an interesting theme. I really don't know how we totally came up with the concept, but it was really in that kind of finding a middle ground, and then, looking at like concepts like TNA did, like a lockdown of all cage matches, stuff like that, certainly kind of inspired it a little bit. And it was just kind of being big and, shooting ideas back and forth. And we kind of landed on this. It was going to be a one-time thing. And then people really enjoyed it, and just, it became an ongoing thing for, it's got to be probably over 10 years at this point.
Yeah. It was funny because somebody on Facebook had mentioned, they said something like, "Oh, independent shows always have the most ridiculous names." And it was funny. It's a funny concept to me, because it's like, well, we don't run the same 10 named shows, so you got to come up with something. And I like the idea of the rap show, playing off of, rap lyrics or rap album or something like that. I think it's good. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's just, it gives you an interesting marketing, concepts, and, all kinds of just, it's a theme, what I mean? The hardest part is trying to decide what we're going to name it every year. Like, it takes us months to land on a name. And then, when I booked Kid Kash, I was just like, well, this one's going to, because we didn't have a name for it. And then Kash said he was accepting bookings. And then I was just like, well, this is it.
Yeah, because I think we couldn't really, nobody had anything great over those 2 sessions that we did over at Duke W3s. And then I remember you had hit the group chat and said, oh, yeah, Kid Kash just confirmed. And I think it was later on in that day when you just settled on, I think we're going to go with this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but it's, I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe we overthink and put time into some of these things. But, I'm sure that there are some people that do appreciate it.
Sure.
And hopefully they all show up on Saturday.
Right. Another question from our Discord, our old pal Scott Random. Something a little different, just kind of a regular Ask AIW question. He said he's aware of the infamous public drunken incident in 2008, not 2018, 2008. But has there been any thought about bringing in Jake the Snake Roberts for a meet and greet now that he's kind of been clean and sober here for about a decade now, hasn't really had any, issues or problems, stuff like that? Was he on the short list of meet and greet names?
No. He screwed us at Absolution 2 and didn't get on his plane, and then other people like it's kind of funny. The karma that came is like, when AIW went through this what's called historically internally as the split, where there's some ownership split away, and the company split into 2, and AIW stayed, and then another company formed out of this split. They used the make good out of Jake to come do their show, and he ended up that's the show from like the documentary where he like pulls his pants down in front of all the little Boy Scouts and was saying all kinds of crazy stuff that's in that Jake documentary. And I just don't know if the city of Cleveland has recovered from seeing the snake of Jake.
Yeah, I don't know if that's one you come back from. I don't know.
And on top of, JT Lightning was involved in that, and, there's this whole big blow up between those two. And, I just, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not one that I'm really like, oh man, we got to do this. Plus, I'm sure the fee is like so crazy as well, so there's like a variety of reasons why I don't really want to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't expect to see that anytime soon.
Understandable, that's for sure. So yeah, if you would like to ask us a question here for the podcast, join our Patreon, get in the Discord. You can also join our Patreon, and you get the replays of the shows for just as low as, what is it, $5.99 a month? You could get the next day replay.
Yeah,
$5. Join our premium YouTube membership. You get all of our live titles. You get all for a higher price premium. You get the backlog catalog library that we've been uploading, and then for a cheaper price, you get just the lives. But this month, I think we said earlier, if you would have signed up at the beginning of the month, you get 2 streams for 1 in this month.
Right. Yeah, you get both Youngstown and Akron this Saturday for $6.99 for the month.
And I will say it again too, just because I actually had somebody come up to me in Youngstown. Oh, it was Colin Delaney. Asked me because his wife wanted to watch the stream, said she kept trying, could not figure out how to subscribe. You must go to a browser. If you are on an iPhone, you must go to a actual web browser. You cannot use the YouTube app just to sign up. You can, once you're signed up and you're a member and you're all good and you're in there, you can go back to the regular app. But to initially sign up, you must go to a browser on your phone and go through the sign up process, because the app will block it. So make sure you're doing that if you want to get on.
Only if you're on an Apple device. If you're on an Android, if you're on an Android or anything else, it should work. But Apple, the YouTube app on an iPhone or an iPad will not show the button to join the channel. You must go to like the actual website, youtube.com/AI Wrestling, in a web browser, and then you're able to sign up from there. And then once you're signed up and all that stuff, it will show up in your app. You can go back to viewing everything in your app on your iPhone or iPad or Mac or whatever it is you use. But you have to you must sign up in a web browser, and then, again, you can then mirror it to your television. All that stuff that you can do with the YouTube app will work, but you got to sign up if you're on an Apple device on the actual website in a web browser, because Apple doesn't allow the signups to happen through their apps.
They hate us. They want their cut. So I know if you're a regular listener to this podcast, I probably sound like a broken record when I say that, but it does bear repeating because, like I said, I just had someone ask me about that, and I just want to make sure
I would give them a cut, but that's not even an option. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I bet you our subs would be so much higher, but people can't figure it out because so many people use a Apple device.
Yeah. Anything else you want to get to before we get out of here?
No, let's just sell those tickets on Saturday. Like I said, you can get general admission tickets for as low as $15 right now until Friday night at midnight, and then the prices will go up. So again, let's pack it on Saturday. Meet and greets with Elena Black, Priscilla Kelly, and Kid Kash. On top of Paul London is more than likely going to be out there. Slim J, there's all sorts of people that you can meet. Sam Holloway in his official WWE ID track jacket will certainly be out at the tables. So there's all sorts of people you can meet. Come on out Saturday. It's going to be a fun time. Bring some weapons, and let's pack the Tadmore Shrine.
Hell yeah. See everybody out there this Saturday. Grab those tickets. First bell, 7:30. We'll at the pre-show a little bit before that, so get in your seats. Doors, 6:30. Like we said, meet and greet, 6:30. Starts at 6:30, so get out there early. We'll see everyone in the parking lot. For myself, for John Thorne, for everybody at Absolute Intense Wrestling. We'll see you next time. Thanks.